mean, people are price gouging, if you ask me. So we need to look at doing some type of cost of living. We also asked about babysitting, some way to assist for members that have babysitters, because when we come back into work, some of the issues I'm hearing that some of the daycare centers have closed down. And like one lady was telling me she got to hire a nanny because she can't take off her job when a child's getting sick or anything like that. So we asked City Hall to come up with or work with us to see if we can get some type of daycare assistance from everybody, for people that need it, or a discount really for that. Also, we got a call from Mr. Chris Brown, who is the chair of the APAB Public Safety meeting. He has this with the citizens. That's coming up on the 27th. And he asked us to be a part of that. He wants us to chime in so they can understand from our point of view, from the union's point of view and perspective, how the 911 call center or employees period works within the city of Atlanta, what we do, and how we can work together with them and getting things accomplished. And of course, we got the mayor elections. I don't know. We talked about Andre Dickens last week that's come in. And I'm hoping and praying that we don't need 15 and 20 people coming in like they did the last time, because that was just too many, in my opinion, trying to run for office. You pretty much know or should know, unless it's some political thing that you're doing, that if you got 10 or 12 people already in the race and you want to come in and try to throw your hand in the pot, do you really think you're going to have a chance of winning, or are you trying to divide the votes? So, folks out there, I'm just saying, this is not a political based podcast, but I'm just saying, really think about it. And if you're not feeling that you're going to be the one to win, just kind of stay back and support the other ones that might have a good chance of doing so. So outside of that, we have our inspiration for the day. And that radio inspiration we have is called "People Have Been Coming to the Wise Man, complaining about the same problems every time. One day he told them a joke and everyone roared in laughter. After a couple of minutes, he told them the same joke and only a few of them smiled. When he told the same joke for the third time, no one laughed anymore. You can't laugh at the same joke over and over. So why are you always crying about the same problem? Worrying won't solve your problems. It'll just waste your time and energy." Wow. Did that make sense?
It didn't make it to you?
No, not really.
Worrying do worrying solve your problems? Or
Worrying brings on more problems because you're worrying.
So then it makes sense. It don't solve your problems.
But that might make sense to you, but it didn't make sense to me when I first read it. So I might have to read it again. But I won't read it again now. But it says you can't laugh at the same joke over and over. So why are you always crying about the same problem? Okay, so let me say this to you then. Let me get a little personal, Miss VP. So when I call you crying about the same problem, do that bother you? Or no. So now I'm wondering why you tell me, well, Gina, you can't worry about the same thing. It's the same problem.
I don't say that.
So is that directed to me?
No, it is not directed to you. It's just it was an old man said, what did he say? Let's read it. Let me read it.
Okay, you read it. Okay.
People have been coming to this wise man, complaining about the same problem every time. One day, he told them a joke. Okay. Everybody roared in laughter.
Okay.
Right? After a couple of minutes, he told the same joke.
Okay.
Only a few people laughed.
Okay.
When he told the same joke for the third time, nobody laughed.
Okay.
All right? So what he's saying is you can't laugh at the same joke over and over. So why are you crying about the same problem over and over? That's all.
Well, that makes sense when a joke is not funny anymore, but I could watch Martin and Cat Williams every day on the same thing and it gets funny.
But if I say here and told you a joke,
okay,
you're going to laugh if it's the first time you heard it, right?
Yeah.
The second time, you might snicker a little bit, but the third time you're going to be like, come on now.
Okay.
Get another joke in.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is saying.
Like
I didn't come up with it.
Like not jokes.
There you go.
You even know they're not jokes and it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So if an employee has problems at their job and they're complaining about the same problem, but they're not looking to
That's a
fix
different
it.
issue.
Well, it's the same thing. It's over and over. You get tired of hearing it.
No, that's a different issue because it needs to be fixed. This is a problem, not a joke, or
Okay.
or an issue that if this is personal, like if this is business, you don't work in the business world. If I got an issue, if my manager and I are having a problem,
Okay.
I tell my manager about it. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Then I go up to her manager.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens,
Mm-hmm.
which it should, but nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Then I might have to take it up to their boss.
Okay.
Something needs to happen. Something needs to happen on each level, but if it's not, then that's a problem. That's a difference between this and that. You can't compare those two. That's not in the working world. This is just if I'm saying today I'm broke and I'm crying about being broke.
You need to get a job.
It's a solution for
Or
everybody.
file unemployment.
Okay. One or the other, right?
But you're still solving.
But I'm still
problem
solving.
solving.
Yeah, I'm trying to solve. You're not solving anything. You're just going over the same situation, and not trying to solve it. There's no resolve for it. Nothing. You're just crying about it. Crying is not going to do anything. Faith without works is dead, right?
But didn't I just kind of say that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I just said that, but anyway.
You hear the lag time in it?
But it's okay. I like the way you fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Kudos to you. Just don't pay attention to that because our listeners and viewers see what they in real time.
Can anyone hear out here yet?
I think they can. Because remember, they can.
Uh-oh, I spelled that wrong. I'm sorry.
You can't. You're not a multitask person.
That's what I do. Really? I'm not a multitasker?
But you did fix it while I was talking.
Exactly.
So let's get into the meat of our source today. We're talking about professionalism, and I am expecting. We have some issues over at Watershed.
Okay.
That I got a phone call about today. So the issue is that these departments, well, let's say Watershed, and I have a meeting with that commissioner, by the way, this week too. And they're moving people from classified to unclassified positions.
Why?
That's my question. And it becomes a problem in two different areas for me, because one of the areas, which is good for our union, because, our majority of our members, what we are responsible for are unclassified people from grades 19 and above to grades 27. But we're so diverse that we have people below 18 in our union.
Okay.
And you remember the other union, they have 18 and below. So when you start moving a lot of folks from one classification, from classified below 18 to grade 19, that becomes our community of interest of employees.
Okay.
And so now, not on top of that, we can get those employees into our union, and they will come if we were being stickler about, if that other union wants to be ugly and wants to try to chastise or go through what they used to do, then, but I don't think they should, because the city is moving into a whole totally different direction now. And that's why I want to make sure that employees that want to join a union can join any union that they wish, regardless of their grade. Because the city is moving different locations. I mean, they're moving different classifications around.
Okay.
So not only that, then the second part I have a problem with, because now you're making these classified employees that's probably been classified for many, many years, moving them to be unclassified where they don't have civil service rights. So they can be fired at will. Now, granted, the city can fire anybody they want to fire at any time. Okay. But yet, that employee, if they fire them wrongfully, they can sue the city, get the job back, and all that money back. So that's why HR and the city tries to lay out policies and procedures on progressive steps of discipline for classified employees. And I have also been working with labor relations, which is a good thing, that is partnering with us for unclassified people before they lay their hammer down to them, that they're making sure that this is a rightful termination. Okay. So to save them money. It's been working out pretty good. But I have a problem with that. One of the issues that the member was telling me about, Watershed employee that moved from grade 18 up, they're making them supervisors, but yet they don't supervise anybody. So that's against labor law. How are you going to be a supervisor? Yeah, because you move that person to unclassified, they cannot at this point work for overtime. They can get comp time,
That's right.
but you're putting them in a classification as being a supervisor.
So let me ask you, with that being said, because we have, I mean, you're saying you can't be a supervisor or a manager unless you have employees directly under you.
Absolutely. You can't be a manager unless you're managing someone. What you managing? You can't be a supervisor. What you supervise?
Leave it right there.
Just leave it right there. And there's a lot of that going on, and they're moving that to those classifications for whatever reasons that's not beneficial for the employee. Because that employee, first of all, is being moved if they were in a type of union at below 18 and they were in that classification, then they move them to an unclassified position, which could, I didn't say will, but could affect their partnership with their union. Number two, they're no longer considered, they would not have civil service rights. And number three, they can't work overtime anymore. They only get comp hours. And number four, they're not supervising anybody, but yet you're carrying on the supervisor title, but you're doing the same job that you was before. So that was some ugliness of reclassification there. And I saw the personnel paper. But you know what's different from what it used to be in the years? They didn't show you, which I'm going to go back and look at the whole book. They didn't show you what positions were being reclassified. They just showed you a total number of what was there.
Not what it was.
No.
What you think it is?
I drink the tea to that. And I think that's what they should do. I think it should, but councils tend to not think, not this council, but the old council, they used to stop that because it was so long and out, they go through each department, personnel paper, and they say the name. Well, not the name, but the actual title. Yeah. But council back then was saying it's too much for them to go through. They didn't have, but I'm like, okay, you just got all these raises now, where you should be wanting to go through each one to be transparent, because you got to approve this and you're trusting all of this into other hands, and all you're doing is seeing a snapshot. And then later on, you find out a lot of stuff when we come to the table with issues. Oh, wow.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Now, I think with council, to me, I mean, it's political. And I'm not a politicky person, political person, whatever. That's not. But, and I don't really care for it too much because it's just too much red tape. But if the less they know, this is my theory, the less they know about certain situations, the less they know about the situations, the less they have to say, or it kind of leaves them out of it. Almost. Well, I didn't know that was going on. Whether or not it was brought to you where they said, hey, go down to this place or check this area out or whatnot, and you just didn't, or what have you. But you haven't physically laid your eyes on it to say what the problem was. So you can't really say, you just going on hearsay. So when citizens call and say, hey, this particular apartment is doing X, Y, and Z, well, we'll look into it. We'll check it out. We'll see about it. We're going to get some answers for you. But then when that department says, hey, why don't y'all come down here and see what it is we do? So when the citizens call you, you can actually have a conversation with them.
They know what
But if they don't do that part, it kind of keeps them out of it a little bit.
And two, that because this in their area, and if something goes wrong with that in that area, they're going to feel responsible or accountable.
But if you don't know,
you
can't be held accountable. Exactly, you can't. No,
I feel a little bit slighted here because you seem to have more of the screen.
Oh, that's a different screen. Look at the other screen.
Is this another? Wait a minute. Y'all know what this means.
Well, let me move it over. I'm so sick of this one here.
Okay. All right. Do y'all see me a little better? All I see, there we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. I just didn't want the dark-skinned person taking up all of the, I had to brighten up the room a little bit.
Oh, I'm so done with this.
But anyway.
So, yeah.
I love that.
You were sick.
But where were we at?
Some hogwash.
Okay.
Hogwash.
Okay, now that I'm at it.
I thought we was gonna have a person to
chime
in.
We were talking about watershed, and they were gonna call in and talk.
Okay, I was trying to see if we can do it if it works. Y'all learning while we learning.
But listen, a couple of weeks of not next week, a couple of weeks of next week, we're gonna have it where we can, people can see us, call in, and you can hear what they're saying too. We're working on all of that.
Yeah, give us to next month.
Yeah.
She said next week.
Next
I work
month.
too. I got another job.
Yeah, well, we
so I had to do it on my off days.
Well, anyway, this is for the members of the union anyway, so they understand.
Yes.
And we're doing the best we can. And again, we're asking anybody out there in radio land and podcast land and YouTube land that's a member, or anybody that's listening that's not a member, if you have any ideas to help us and got some time to volunteer your time to get us, up in this streaming the way it's supposed to be streamed, please call us. We sure could use your help.
We sure can.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ebony, you've been doing good. Even though I'm laughing at you and everything, but you're doing a good job.
I try to.
You try to. You're learning. She's learning, y'all.
It's hard to try to keep up with this one right here.
Yes. So let's talk about how did you feel when we were talking about, because we got, some members. Matter of fact,
we had a list.
We had a list of members that called in or emailed me and said, awesome awesome presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying, what about retired sworn personnel being hired as civilians and it'll make a significant higher than the income? Okay, so we got two things. One said retired personnel sworn can come back and be like a civilian to help with the 911 center. But at the same time, they're retiring and hiring them back and making more money than the person that's doing the same job they're doing. Now, that's the problem. But that's not just the 911, everybody.
So that's the 911 they're saying now?
Well, this is what they're saying about sworn.
Okay.
But that's not just a 911.
No.
That's all over the city.
It is.
Some people are retiring and able to come back to work as contractors for 2 to 3 years.
And making more money.
Making more money, doing the same job, and making more money than they were making, and making more money than another person, their colleague, doing the same job. That's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we got to know. We need to know who they are. We need to know what department and who these people are so we can investigate it before we slam dunk the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to hurt the employee. It's not their fault.
No.
But we want to make it fair across the board if you can do that, because it would help 911 center.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Especially if you have
those
a retired
people want to, if they want to do that. That's the only
But you got
thing
the recapture program, remember? For the sworn officers.
Yeah, but if they want to do 911, some
But
of
it's
them
an
are
option.
not. It is. Yeah, they need to make it as an option. They should make it as an option. I had an email. This one says, well produced and timely. Totally forgot about the parking fee matter. Agreed to waive the E911 to make even 911 first responders. Okay, to reclassification.
Right.
So that was a good one. We got a lot of good responses from it.
Yes.
A lot of good responses.
We are working on trying to get the fire civilians not to pay for parking when they come back to work. I never understood why they were made to pay $35. Look, the parking deck's still standing now, and nobody really uses it.
We pay for 35 for our parking.
Y'all do too?
The city pay the other half, but I think it's like a total of 60 something. But we only pay 35 a month.
I don't know why we didn't just build that and make it the city of Atlanta's parking deck.
That would make sense.
I just don't get it.
With
we
the
do
amount
everything
of employees
else.
you have.
Yes.
And you even have to have some employees come down to that P Street. I don't understand.
At the park.
I don't know.
And so it doesn't make sense to me. We buy everything else. We buy other buildings. Why? We're trying to do the gulch. The gulch. We're trying to do that. So why could we not have bought and paid for a parking deck for the city? And then charge guests. I'm sorry. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Charge the guests like they do the parking meters to pay the park. But not your own employees. That's crazy. And then this is really crazy. I have an automobile that's assigned to me by the city that I drive all the time when I come to work. It's parked in the parking deck already. But when I come in, I got to pay $35 to park there. And I'm going to park in the same parking lot that my car that I'm assigned to from the city is in. That's ridiculous. So why can't I just back my city car out and put my personal car in and be done with it? No. We got to pay $35. So now, pandemic hit. Nobody hardly is at work. 95% is not at City Hall.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they are, they parking on the street. And then, so nobody's getting money from them then.
Mhm.
They're
And the
not
parking
taking
is
that
still there.
$35, but the parking is still there. So when they come back, then they're going to start parking.
And
Okay,
start back
start-
taking it back.
yeah.
When the whole year went by, you didn't need the money.
You didn't need the
So
money.
what did you do?
And I
What
was-
are you doing with the money when you get it?
Well, what was exactly? That's a good point. What's going? I think we asked that question 2 years ago.
What is it? If you could go a year without paying it,
Well, they saying maintenance, but every time I used to go in there, it was dirty.
ours is too.
It's dirty, and then it doesn't. So I was like, well, then if I got to pay to park, assign me a parking space.
And that's what they need to do for us too, because
Uh-huh.
because we're in the city,
Mhm.
everything goes on down there. They parking in our spaces. Assign our spaces so we don't be late for work because we can't even get in the parking lot, or we can't find somewhere to park.
Yeah, that's.
Or we have to go across the street to park. Last time we had to go across the road to park,
And I don't like that.
and we pay up for this one.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So we need to stay on council with that. That's a council issue, because I even talked with the fire chief regarding his non-sworn, and that's something that they told me it was above their head. So that sounds like an administration and city council issue. So we're going to stay with them. We're going to stay with them.
Okay, so YouTube listeners, we haven't done this one in a while. We do have one listener on our blog talk. You guys won't hear them, but we will let you know if they're speaking. Hold on 1 second. Our blog talk, I'm going to chime you in. If you want to speak, go ahead and speak, please. It's going to tell you that you're unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, we got two. You're unmuted. Do you want to speak? Okay. And you are unmuted. Do you want to speak? Who am I speaking with?
I hear something.
Hold on. Let me cut it up.
Okay, YouTubers, you hold on.
I clicked the wrong thing. You want to? Who am I speaking with? Oh, hey, Mr. Pulliam, how you doing? I hate that.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. What's going on with you today? Right. And we just talked about that. We were talking about that. That's in the watershed department. And so exactly what you were saying is what we were saying about they're going to be moved from classified to an unclassified position. They will not be able to get overtime. They will be getting comp time. And on top of that, they're being placed as a supervisor, but have no one to supervise. And so we will be meeting with Commissioner Browning this week, and I am going to invite you on that call so that you can, with me, can get some heads and tails of that. So thank you for calling in and letting us know about that, because that is something concerning for us. Okay, and I would definitely, after this podcast, we'll send you an invite with that. And you're right, it is against federal law of all the things that they're doing. And we'll reach out to our union attorney to get some backup clarification. So by the time we meet with Commissioner Browning, we can let her know what's going on and our stance on that. So thank you for calling in. All right, Mr. Pulliam, I'll talk to you shortly.
Have a good one.
Well, that was I appreciate him calling in.
Tell the listeners what he was saying again.
Well, what he was saying that it was against the law for you to be able to put somebody into a supervisor's position, move their classification, and they're not supervising anymore, taking away their rights like that. And, it's just against labor law to do that. That's not a good labor law practice. So we will be talking with our not the city attorney. I'm sure they're going to get involved because our union attorney is going to reach out to them. But I first would like to give the opportunity to Commissioner Browning, when we meet with her this week, to address that issue. What was the rationale for that? Okay. But that's happened before. And we told them then, but then they changed it and said there was a caveat saying that they could work for overtime versus comp. Don't know. We never got into that. Pandemic hit, so we couldn't challenge it, a lot of stuff. But we will be working closely with Ms. Rita Cherry and Mike Pulliam, and who are our union council, regional council, and regional rep, and get with the commissioner and see what we can do about it. So that's a good thing. Thank you for calling in, Mr. Pulliam, with that. And as well, that we also remember, what's this about a protest? I just got an alert. Protest and civil disturbance with George Floyd's death scheduled, planned protest related to the anniversary of his death. So they're sending out to all of you out there tips, where to go in case something gets out of hand, see something, say something, where to do a fallout, tips for drivers, know your routes, and avoid large crowds. The city just sent something out there. So they must be going to have a protest tonight or today. So if you all are listening, just remember, check your email or your cell phones to see, so you'll be aware what the city just sent to you. So what were we talking about? We were talking about the watershed. We were talking about the parking debt where you don't pay the $35. And we talked about cost of living. I asked for the cost of living increase.
You did.
We asked for that. And the babysitting, retention. Oh, yes, retention. Come up with not just for 911 and 311, but for everybody to have a retention bonus. If you got critical essential workers and you got essential workers, we need to come up with some kind of the retention to keep them there.
Exactly.
We don't want to lose, because I tell you, like I told counselor, I'm going to tell HR, because I guarantee you, but I know they probably fixed it by now, because they heard me mention it in my presentation.
What's that?
That's what they do, right? Yeah. Take my ideas instead of acknowledging that Pace did this, and let's work with Pace. But it's all good. But I almost guarantee you that they did not have a percentile looking at forecasting proactively when the city does reopen to stage 4 and bring everybody back. How many people are going to come back? How many people do you think will lose that have probably got another job and decide that, you know what, I don't want to deal with the city anymore. I'm just going to be gone. That's for the ones that's at home, that's not essential or critical. How many is going to return? How many is going to retire? They lost. Yeah,
just 2 getting ready to lose. 2.
And I've heard in Public Works we've lost quite a few. I got one in Watershed that called me this morning. He's going out in December, and he's talking about wanting to take his time in August. I said, you can't do that. He's got so much abundance of time. He said, I want to take all of it. Just leave in August.
Yeah.
But to think about it, even, I understand they want to send out a survey about the vaccine. Okay, if you took the vaccine or not, but send a survey out and say, are you planning on returning to work?
You think?
Are you planning on retiring?
They might not be honest.
Well, they might not be honest about the vaccine. So I'm just saying, I just always like to be proactive. I'm looking at a business sense, because we don't know where everybody's mindset is over a year and a half. Because I figure we all be coming back in around September.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's where I think we might be. It might be a little early, but I'm giving it September 1. Would be the cliche of bringing everybody back in. I know a lot of business like our Union National is opening up their office September 1. And so I'm looking at around that. So I'm just thinking, by then, when somebody decide they don't want to come back in, somebody might have a fear, a phobia about coming back to work, and they may just decide to retire.
Never know.
No sense of worrying about doing an early out, because you've been out now about a year and a half, and that captures a lot of people that were right on the threshold to retire.
It does.
Just to see, how they are. But I was just curious to know what the projectile would be.
Yeah. I don't know.
So the department can be ready, because if somebody's honest and say, well, I'm not going to come back, I may retire on this date, then they need to start cross-training people, and seeing what your needs are.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. But I put all of this stuff out on behalf of our membership and PACE. But the sad part about it, leaders, and I'm not going to say who they are.
Why did you look at me like that?
No, I'm just looking at you, because I always like to take the monkey out of the room, or the elephant out of the room. But sometimes I always kind of get laid back for a meeting. But you know who you are out there, who I'm talking to. Like to take our ideas and then go with it and say, that's a great idea, but never pull us to the table to discuss it. So then they get it all wrong.
Because it wasn't their idea.
Because it wasn't their idea.
So they
so we know. They don't know how to execute. You are 100% correct. And why do you think it's so hard for the leaders to bring the union to the table? PACE. I'm going to speak on PACE. To bring PACE to the table. Not a lot of them, but the important ones.
I think that it's, to them, it's giving more power to someone else. That's the thought process, is what I'm thinking. And so it might be a little intimidating. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Because other than that, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because it's been proven that if you brought PACE to the table with the ideas that PACE has brought, it works a lot better. Just like with the previous director, Pritchett was there for our 911 center, when Director Pritchett, when she had PACE was at the table every month. There was a meeting. Nothing seemed to have went by that wasn't a notice. Everything was the issues were far and in between. Right? So when you don't have them at the table, it's not like that the union PACE is working against anyone, but it's proper procedures, and the union's job is to make sure that they're followed and in order and in place, and everything is fair. So just like now, we have some issues, and I'm not understanding why it's so hard. If you have rules in place, follow the rules. The rules apply to everybody, not because today is not a good day for me, so I don't want them to apply to you, because I understand today is not a good day. Today might not be a good day for this person 5 days later. And then you don't give them the same empathy you gave this particular person. So rules are rules for a reason, because it's across the board. It doesn't make sense that we don't follow the rules, or when they are convenient to be followed.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
But you got leaders out there right now that's so hardcore, still trying to go by the rules of it. Sometimes they don't know how to think outside the box.
No.
And that's what really irks me when you have. I come from the military background where it was so stringent, but guess what about that stringency? There were processes in place. It was clear cut, no gray areas. So you had no reason on neither side to be misconstrued or miscommunicated with. You know exactly what the rules are. Brings me back to the point about on my presentation about the sick leave policy. Come on now. All right, I still don't have a strict
policy. What is it?
Well, I don't know what they're talking about now. I got confused even trying to get clarity from what I understood it to be. All I know is the historical practice is that you have 3 days you can be out, historically practiced, and what I'm reading into the code, 3 days straight, consecutive days you can be out sick. On the 4th day you come back to work, you don't have to have a doctor's note. That's been the historical practice from all the years that I've been there, 20 years with the city.
And when I read it, remember I read it and I called you. I said, so you can actually be out 3 days, and that 4th day you come to work and everything should be fine. You don't need a doctor's note. But that 5th day, If you're out 4 consecutive days,
yes,
that 5th day you come back, you can't come back unless you have a doctor's note.
Unless you have a doctor's note.
So that was obvious to me when I read it, because it said what it said. I didn't take from it. I didn't add to it. But then when they threw the word may or shall,
that's after we asked the commissioner of HR.
That's when it came up.
And then he come up, but it says may.
So then that's contingent upon that person's personal feelings.
But then when I asked the question, I still ain't got the answer. Well, when does the may come in play? So now the way the code says, it says that the director or the manager may require you to bring in a doctor's note. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do I get to know when you're going to ask me to bring in a doctor's note? So may means I could and I could. I don't have to. So that number one, that's inconsistent.
And it leaves it open for
unfairness. Exactly.
It really does.
And
I like you, but I don't like this one. So you can go out 3 days and I'm going to forget to ask you your doctor's note. Don't worry about it. You good. But this one right here, because you do this often, I need my doctor.
You don't even have to do it
without any documentation, but I want a doctor's note just because. And that's not fair.
And even you don't have to say that person does it often, because if that person is out often, there is a policy in place to put them on excessive absence.
That's why I said there is no documentation.
Right. But at that point, you give them advance notice in a disciplinary action that say going forward for a period of time. Anytime that you're out sick, call out sick, you got to bring in the doctor's note. Well, what we're talking about is that word may.
Yeah.
That I think needs to be removed.
It needs to be stated yes or no.
Because
yay or nay.
No, it just needs to
what
state
it is.
If you're out 3 consecutive days. If you're out 3 consecutive, it should say if you're out 4 consecutive days.
Exactly, because 3 is throwing them out.
Right. When you return to work on that 4th day, right, you need to bring in the doctor's note on that 5th day.
On the 5th day. Yeah.
On that 5th day.
The 5th day.
They need to take something out or just take that may out.
Mm-hmm.
That may
require. Or employees are allowed to take up to
3 consecutive sick days without having to bring
without an excuse.
That's where it should read.
That's how it should read. That way it's clear cut.
Yeah, it's clear cut. That's it. Because a supervisor don't have to say because you've been out so much, they don't have to like you, period.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't like her, so I'm going to give her a hard time.
Yep.
So my point goes back again. So if I call out on the 2nd day, I'm sick, and I call in, I'm sick. So when do I get, so at that point, my supervisor can tell me then, well, you need to bring in a doctor's note.
Or either they call you while you at home on the days you're off and tell you to bring a doctor's note.
Right. Because now remember, I'm not out 3 consecutive days. And who wants to be chastised while you calling in sick?
It's my time. I got it.
And because of pandemic now, you got some departments that allow you to text your supervisor or email your supervisors or versus call. So all of that needs
This
to
is
be.
What ours do. If we call out sick and it's not your shift that you call out on, we have to tell the employees, okay, I'm going to take your information that you called out sick, but call back and speak to your supervisor.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So you can let them know.
That doesn't, that's
to make sure the message get printed. But when they call in, I send an email. But I say it because that's what you told us. That's what we have.
Okay, we got a good one here. Hold on.
What's the question?
I got a text that says, I wish to remain anonymous. To respond to your question about why PACE is not brought to the table, they don't want you at the table because they don't want to hear you can't do that or that is against labor law. They also don't want you at the table. Everything they are reporting to the mayor and the city council would be contradicted because they want to look productive to the council and the mayor. I would like to make a suggestion that the mayoral candidates have a town hall meeting with the city employees so the candidates are aware of what is really going on. Absolutely good suggestion. Whoever this anonymous person that just texts me, thank you for that. And I will, we do have candidates that are reaching out to us. We have not, for union support, we have not, because we're trying to, the executive board on behalf of our membership is trying to decide if we're going to be politically engaged or not. We did not do that directly last year. A little bit, we did some phone banking for some council people. We're looking at if this is something that we really want to do. However, the ones that have reached out already asking for us to either come on the podcast or have some meetings with us to see about supporting them, whether we endorse them or not, I will ask them to consider having a town hall and even have a mayoral town hall with employees. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It's been with citizens, not with employees. Have a platform and city council people.
Because and they need to know what the employees have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You just got to know. You have to know. It's not acceptable anymore in this climate, in this time and day and age. It's not acceptable anymore to be able to, the citizens are calling you guys, the council members, and you can't give them an answer because you don't know the functions of the departments that you are kind of making decisions for.
Absolutely.
You have to. Ms. Lachey says she appreciates the discussion and budget presentation conveying their concerns. That budget thing, that thing last week was so stressful, boy. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful.
But I want to commend, I want to commend all of our executive board officers that was available to assist me that night. We did we burned the midnight oil because we were supposed to have went on the 27th. And then they called us on a Saturday, council's the solicitor did, and said, we moved you up to the 19th. So we had to scramble and put everything that we were time managed out. We had to scramble and put everything together
in one
night so we can send it in advance so it can be there. So I thank all of my executive board officers for being on that Zoom call from 6 o'clock till about 11. It was like 6 to 11. Oh my gosh. And then I didn't go to sleep till about 3:30 because then I had to compile it to make sure it looked grammatically correct, cosmetically correct, no errors in it, and know what I need to talk about, how to put the platform together. And we finally, I shot it off about 4 o'clock in the morning. And then we had to be ready and up and roaring by the next day. So it was kind of stressful. But this is what I do, and you got a taste of it. Last year or the year before I kind of did that by myself. So it's very stressful.
I did the PowerPoint part.
You did the PowerPoint.
Yeah. And then I did come up to that office. That's when you got me. That's when you got me.
Love it. And
that's when you got me. You had me up there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, back to back.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But it's a lot of work. Listen, you guys, we appreciate membership in our union. We couldn't be here. We're here for you. Never get it twisted. My face is the face of PACE. But we have an active executive board. We have active members. We have people that we're here representing you. This is a hard work. It's a hard job. It's a thankless job. But it's because to work this, you have to have the passion. You want to do it. You got to have the ability to speak before people. And you got to have the strength, vitality, enthusiasm, and spiritual being to deal with them evil spirits.
You have to deal with
because you got a lot of people that'll challenge you to be, to shut you down, to bully you, to talk to you. But I've learned over the years, single you out, retaliate against you, blackball you. And why do you think I'm not up in those high positions? It's not because I don't know how to do certain things. Why do you think my brain is coming up with what I see and hear outside that comes to me and I come up with these visions? I could be a great leader. I could run for mayor. You could. But I don't want to be in 15. I tell you what, if I was to be mayor, I'd be like candidate mayor-elect, what do you call them? It's not mayor-elect. It's when they're running for office for mayor. Felicia Moore, what do you call her? Or Audrey Dixon, all of them. Whatever. The ones, candidates, mayoral candidates.
Oh,
I can't even
tongue try that. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
Candidate. If I wasn't being, I tell you what, we have a better city. Well, not all the way, because I have to have one person can't run things. You gotta have a team.
You have to have a team. You have to have it, and you need a team. And if you have a city, you need a team in every department.
Every day that you can trust.
That you can trust.
That's going to lead.
Yes, that is going to lead.
Going to be fair. Have humility and empathy. Loyalty.
Yes, definitely.
Not with lies.
No.
But
not try to cover up stuff. Just be open and honest. If I don't know something's going on, I can't help you. If you keep padding this, they're making it appear to be everything is okay. I'm going to assume everything is okay until somebody come from up under that rug and be like, hey, it's dirty under here.
Right.
You're
right,
not going to know.
Right.
You're not going to know. So that's
And
what I need.
And we need, and whoever becomes a mayor, please be cautious and careful of getting your team together, the ones and keep the ones that are good, and reassign the ones you think that are worth saving but may not be right there in that fit position, just like any other person. You may not be good in this position, but I like your skills and talents, so we're going to put you over here.
Yeah.
But don't keep running over, like you said, that inspiration over the same thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get the same result.
Same results.
Because sometimes it's hard for people. It's very rare that people can make change and be okay with it. See, I can make changes, and I'm going to tell you, I'm good at making change. The military got you like it, make you like that.
Yeah.
The problem I have at being resistant to change is when you're not explaining to me. I don't have a clear understanding of what it is that you need.
A lot of people.
What's your vision and mission? Yeah. And so now you want to make this change. Well, I need to know.
And I'm a part of this change.
I'm part of it.
But I don't know what the change is.
Right. I want to be productive in your change.
Exactly. If I know more, I can help you with this change.
No, some of them don't want to bring it to the table because they're being deceitful.
Now, I did get an email. I want to bring up some of this stuff. I sent it to you too. These are some issues from, she's a fairly new employee.
Okay.
And has a list of issues already.
Okay.
So we'll go with breaks first. When will the 2 30-minute break segments resume? It appears that the second break, if only 15 minutes, is not optimal for performance at any 10-hour plus shift. In addition, it is helpful when possible to receive the break sheet at the beginning of each 4-hour work period. Many times we are told to break without any advanced printout. So this is a 10-hour employee, and they only get 15-minute breaks. The first 5 hours and the second 5 hours. Another employee, he's a fairly new employee. He sent the email. It's the same thing, these two issues. He said, hey, we're 10-hour employees. I work day watch, but I only get a full 30-minute break. 15 minutes the first half, and that's usually beginning of the shift, right when we come in. And then I sit. And then I wait for my second break, which is only 15 minutes. And I work 10 hours. Then when evening watch come in, we probably have to sit an extra 30 minutes because they're short. Now I worked almost 11 hours with 30 minutes break.
Wow.
On the phone. That's the problem.
Okay, so I'm looking at the email that you sent me, and kudos to
don't say the name.
Kudos to these persons.
Yeah,
that says there's a lot of things which mean a lot to many of us. So apparently there's a couple of members that's speaking on behalf of some other members.
She got 2 other ones on there with her.
Yeah, and so I'm going to take time and go through all of this, and we're going to talk to this about, because she's like got fire drills, breaks. She's talking about health and well-being.
Now, we did just do the fire drill. Ben,
one of the board
members came out.
Absolutely. Kudos to Ben Martin.
Thank you, Ben,
for coming out there with Ebony to the 911 call center to discuss
very informative.
The fire
the
drill,
safety and all of that. If something was to happen, if we had an active shooter, he came in and he helped us with the exit. They're going to put signs up in the room. That's going to be our safe room. He did really well.
And then she says monitors, anti-blue light screen protectors. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Platronic boxes.
Those are the phone boxes. They're trash.
Well, we got to get into that.
The computer system that we have now, I was telling you, the phone is so small. And they really can't.
So y'all system is whatever.
We have the new system though, remember?
That new system don't. Yeah. And then she asked for a comfort station in the restrooms. Absolutely wonderful ideas. I'm going to go through this after the podcast.
And you see, she even put up, she didn't just come with problems. She sent in the monitors, and then she gave links to where you can find them.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
So she did her due diligence.
And because of that, because of that information, I will put this on our agenda. We're going to discuss this next week on our podcast. Yes. In the meantime, I will be discussing this with Chief Brian. I don't know why I
don't know why you can't
Baker.
think his name either.
Baker or Butler.
But I'm glad he gave us the open door policy. So this stuff like this, we could just bring to his attention. And she mentioned little small stuff like painting. You know,
could be done like that.
we could. That's not an issue. They could do that easy. So they need some of that stuff. I'm trying to think. Another member called me the other night. She left work. We were on this new system. And she's stressed out. She asked me for EAP number today, too. So I got to make sure I give her that number, the EAP assistance. But she was just overwhelmed with, and we did not get to touch on professionalism today. Thank you, Gina. But I'll take it because we had some technical difficulties previously due to Gina wanting to try new stuff before time. But anyway,
it's finally working, though, and it's time to go off the air.
Yeah, it's working now. But she was talking. Well, she was asking a question about the system, right? How to do something with a unit. I went over to assist, but I really couldn't be of assistance because I don't know what to do. I'm learning like they learning. But another supervisor came over, and that made her a little. It disturbed her a little because you could see she was getting flustered. And the supervisor said, "Stop! Put that pen and stop writing that down and type that on the computer." Well, this young lady was not comfortable yet. We're typing on the computer because she's not familiar with this system. So she was just like, she just put her hands in her head like this. Oh, my heart went to her. And so she called me later. She said that was just so. I said, I understand, and I just put it aside. It was very. It was no empathy there. Like this is her second day on this new system. Give her some time. If she wants to write, let her write. What is that hurting anybody? This is how she is.
We need to look at your supervisors. Remember I said if they're not a good fit, they might be good.
I'm still learning how to be a good supervisor because I know I can sometimes. I have to catch myself. I play my conversations out before I speak sometimes. So I can, it helps me to control myself.
Maybe we need to look at you.
Maybe you need to. No, I'm not that bad. But I'm just saying, I would definitely tell nobody that, hey, don't do it this way. If this is what you're comfortable with, then I have to respect that. This is what you're comfortable with. Right. I'm not going to tell you because I'm good at something else that you need to come up to my level. No, everybody has their own different levels. We have something else.
What's being said?
Ms. Lachey says, we always get new systems, no training. Honey, if you ain't hit that on the head.
Frustrating to everyone.
The young lady put her hands in her head as if she wanted to you could see she was at her tipping point. And I was like, oh my God, the system will make you throw it out of the window.
So we never did get to the bottom of who ordered this system. Why did they order this system? Why there was not adequate training, and there was not a transition.
It should have been a transition
into it. And that gets me. And I am just so overwhelmed with the mayor, do they know? Do the COO, are they aware?
I don't think they know
what's going on and stuff that.
You delegate certain things out, and you expect your staff, because you trust them and you got them in these positions, you expect them to do just like when Chief Brian came. He said, I had no idea this stuff was going on.
But then somebody's head should roll.
So there you go. Say it.
Because apparently either the person, if he's not having his table talk with his executive staff, and then he needs to be, and if he is, and they're not giving him information, somebody's head needs to go.
Then it's not being communicated what is actually going on. And that's why we've always said over the past years, who's speaking on the behalf of who? Because if you're in a higher position and they're expecting certain things from you, they're wanting a good report. You know that, right? But if you don't have a good report to give them, you have to give them the truth.
Right.
You have to give them the truth instead of
nobody wants to give bad information.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking.
But that's one thing I liked about Erica Shields. Now, I didn't know her, don't care, you're that. One thing about her, on the times that I heard her speak, guess what? She was telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And nobody wanted to hear the number. She told the truth. Mm-hmm. Now, how can you fix something if you don't tell the truth?
How can you get assistance if nobody knows you need help?
So hopefully, we got a new council probably.
Yeah, we're getting a whole new
council almost. Yeah. And, we need to really get engaged with that. And we getting a new mayor because Mayor Bottoms is not rerunning. So we're getting a new mayor.
We're going to get a new mayor.
So, and then with that comes new leadership, maybe not.
And with everything, the climate, everybody's going to have to be patient with that new mayor. With every new administration, you're going to have patience because they're coming in, especially now.
Right.
They're coming in on the tail end of a
Of
whole
a pandemic and all kinds of stuff, and but we have gone over a little bit normally
because Gina wanted to use a system but was not ready to be used.
And see, look, I didn't transition this in, did I?
No, you didn't. Practice what you preach.
See, that's a prime example.
That's a prime example.
But we did practice this last night. We just decided that we wasn't going to do it, and then somehow somebody didn't disengage both systems, and it kind of entwined while we were on. But she was able to fix it. But this is what we were saying: practice what you preach. Transition when you're trying to do new things.
Yeah, don't
make
just
sure it works and stuff. But we like to thank everybody for participating today.
Yes, we do.
And we hope this is your podcast. This is just not Gina and Ebony, something we're doing just to be doing.
Yes.
This is for you. This is something for you to call in and get out there in the open. Tell us, let us know what issues you having out there.
And we're not here
speak for you
to bash any departments, employees, management. We're not here to bash anything. We're just bringing light to situations that a lot of people are going through, that someone can say, hey, this is what I did to fix it, or this is how I overcame whatever the situation may be. But we're not here to bash anything. Nothing. This is all out of love because we just want to be better. That's all.
And so we'll continue this every week. And we'll try every now and then to put something in there about professionalism, how to different courses, different things, and we'll take 15 minutes of that. But we don't want to lose the continuity of you calling in or chatting in, typing in some issues or dialoguing with us about what kind of issues you're having. And we also like to encourage you, if you're having any kind of depression, anxiety, or just not feeling good, to reach out to EAP or reach out to your healthcare professionals. And for me to tell you that, because I'm petrified of I have the white coat syndrome. Mm-hmm. I don't like taking pills. I don't like doctors. But I do have to deal with them because I do have anxiety.
Yeah.
And you guys have a lot of that. Please reach out to a provider. There's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist, somebody that you can trust. And please do that. Reach out. They're there to help you. If you have any issues that's not getting resolved, you make sure you reach out to our union office. If you can't reach me at Ebony by phone,
or your union steward
in your department, exactly. Mm-hmm. And the union office number is 404-921-9. I'm sorry, let me back up. 404-521-9043. And I need to call that number before I tell you, because I haven't used that number in so long to make sure that's the correct number. But you all are welcome. Please, if you have any issues, please call the union office or reach me where I can help you reach the union office.
Yes.
So you can get what you need done immediately. I'm calling it now to make sure that I'm giving you the right number.
And our professionalism topic today was supposed to have been on conduct and behavior. It was going to be really good. I had really did some research. Thanks, Gina.
Well, we can schedule.
We're going to do it next week. We're going to do it next week because what I'm learning is that a lot of people, a lot of the older generation, younger generation, but this new age that are just getting out of high school, we're getting a lot of people that's fresh out of school, and they just don't know how to behave in a professional environment. But then you have, like I said, older people that don't know how to behave in a professional environment. So middle-aged people don't know how to behave in what's expected, what's not expected. So next week, we're going to touch on that. And we'll have this system better. Either we won't have this one or we'll have it running. It's doing pretty good. So I guess we keep it.
Okay, we have another title that says, great job. Thank you all for making the effort with the new system. Very healthy discussion. And thank you.
Thank you.
And so we're going to close out today.
Yes. I want to close out. I want to see if we can close out without what we was going to intro with. Remember the little thing from yesterday?
Let's see. Okay. That's going to be a good one. Okay. So we're going to say our goodbyes first to see, but then hang on to see if it'll work.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for joining Podcast Radio Connections with Pace. Your host, Gina Pagnata Murphy, president of PACE.
And your vice president, Ebony Walton, your co-host.
You guys be safe till next week. Same time, same bat station. And good night. Let's see what happens.
We try. Yeah, this is the intro, but we're gonna do it as an outro today. So I'm gonna try to see how this works. I'm gonna share my screen. Screen or video? Screen.
Who are you asking?
I don't know. Window. Let's see. Uh-oh. Did he go? Look like some coming up. Oh, what is this?
Well,
let's see. We're gonna try it. We're gonna get this thing one way or another. We're gonna get it right. I'm gonna share my screen. Screen or video? Screen. I don't know. See that lag time I don't like.
that's all right.
Let's see.
It was doing something.
Did it go? Look like some coming up. Oh. Hopefully they can see it. I'm not sure if they can. Okay. It's not in this video. I don't think so. Oh, I don't know if it went through or not, but I'm going to go ahead and click off. We're done.
Take care. Maybe it'll work the next time.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good week.